So Mafex has slowly been re-releasing like all of their stuff, which is amazing for us because some of this stuff aftermarket is crazy. This is a 2.0, but the first version of this Batman was selling for like $200. It was insane. I had the first version, but once this one got announced, I sold mine because there was no way I was keeping both. I really like this one. Big shout out to BigBADToyStore for sending this my way. I will have a link in the description if you want this guy or any other figure you might think of wanting. Click the link in the description, just use my link. It helps out the channel immensely. What I like about it is the sculpt and the paint work. The shading on this figure looks really good. It helps lend itself to the different types of lighting you can achieve, so I like that a lot. Sculpt is nice. They revamped this body, so if you have the first one that's slim, this guy's thick. You can obviously see how much more thicker he is. If you've ever seen the Justice League movies, Batman is not a slim guy. He's a pretty hefty guy, so I'm glad they went back and revamped it. Sculpt and paint look great though. Even on the back of the figure that you never see because of the cape, the sculpt work is great. I like how they got the brass or gold. I think that's brass. I like how they got that on the gauntlets and the belt. Really nice touches. A lot of people are assuming because of the paint rub that this is not a good figure. But in my opinion, it's a good figure. It just has this cape. This cape is terrible. It's not good at all. Like, it'll hold a pose barely, but there's no wire on the bottom of the cape, so the cape just falls. They would have been better off doing like Daredevil 19 does, where he puts wire. You put 3 wires in the cape. Cape this big, you put a wire going this way, one in the middle, and another one going that way, and that helps the cape stay up. They didn't even put a wire at the bottom, so it's like there's nothing here for this cape to even try to be good. They did put a little stitch right there, but that's just for the fold. I did go in here and shave down the plastic, you can see. But even before I did that, the paint rub was not that bad. There's a little bit of paint rub on the top of that pad right there, little on the back and a little on the side right there, but that's not the end of the world to me. And one of the reasons I didn't buy this was because of that paint rub, and I didn't even pay attention to the other issues. Another issue I have, the head doesn't stay on once you pose it. Once you start touching this head, it comes off. It's not gonna just fly off, but like once you pose it, once you touch it, or now it's not gonna do it, but yeah, once you touch it, it's coming off. Those 2 issues are bigger than the paint rub if you ask me. I'm not really that torn up about paint rub. For accessories, he comes with everything Batman needs to come with, or this version of Batman, I should say. He has the extra hands, he has extra heads, he has batarangs, the grapple gun, everything Batman needs to be Batman. He has open, trigger, and then these are like cape holding hands, I guess, to keep the cape up if he's like gliding or flying. 3 batarangs, not sure. Or maybe those are batarang hands. Maybe that's what those are. Maybe I'm tweaking. But the face sculpt is really nice on this figure. It's uncanny. It looks like Ben Affleck to me. You don't have to think so. I think so. The screaming head is nice. I love the fact that he has different expressions. It's not just unmasked head and calm head. You can get him looking how you need him in a little head. For articulation, I showed the way this comes off already, but he does have the double ball peg with the bent peg on there, so that's cool. He can look up pretty far, so that's always nice. Batman, in this movie especially, he looked up a bunch of times. He can't look down that far. You do get a lot of it from the neck, the lower neck, and the head, and the ball joint, so it's all working together, so it's nice. Do get the expressive side to side. It's gonna pop off. Shoulders go up that far. You do get a butterfly joint in there. And this does rub a little bit. I saw Isaac Wong when he did his tutorial on how to sand it. He sanded in here, and he sanded around the butterfly joint, but I'm not gonna do all that because I don't care that much. Butterfly joint does do that much range. You get that far back, that far forward. You do get a bicep swivel, 360 on that. The elbows are double jointed, but they're kind of tight, and I don't want to push them any further than that. The wrist is the typical Mafex wrist, but there's a lot of sculpt around it, so you will get that far on it, up and down, or left and right, whatever you want to call it. Telescopic joint goes up and down all around. You do get the swivel. Upper torso will go forward that far on the top, and then once you combine them, he will go forward that far. He does go back that far. He goes back further than forward. Upper torso will swivel about that much, and this is another part I wanted to point out where it's going to rub too. It's not just going to rub from this. It's going to rub from this too. Because you can see, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but you can see I just rubbed off even more paint. So you're going to get some rub from there, but it will go that far and that far. You can 360 it, but I really don't want to do all of that right now. You can 360 the lower though, so the lower will 360. Another thing that this one has different than the first one is the diaper is softer. That first version of Batman, the diaper was really hard, so this one's a little bit softer, but it doesn't like really help too much for the hip. It does go up that far though, back that far, and you do get the drop down. Also get a hidden thigh swivel in there. Double jointed knees go that far. He won't kick his own ass because everything will just run into itself. Down that far, up that far, and you do get a toe pivot, and you also get an ankle swivel. So it's really nice. I do want to show him next to the Mafex Justice League though. So here he is next to the entire Justice League team by Mafex, except for Wonder Woman. This is the SHF 84 Wonder Woman because I like the articulation more, I like the sculpt more, I like the paint more, and the look of the figure just looks way better. The Mafex Wonder Woman is terrible. I do own it. I got it when I bought Flash and Batman from my friend, but the figure is terrible. The skirt rubs, it's a common issue. You can't get it out. No point to paint it because it's like never gonna go away. And this one just looks a lot better. This is the re-release Cyborg, Black Suit Superman, and the re-release Aquaman. This figure makes me wish they would revamp the rest of these because this figure desperately needs to be redone. This guy has huge thighs and a small waist and it looks kind of weird. Wish they would do that. So let's get into size comparisons. I know you guys love comparisons. I had someone tell me on my last video people love comparisons. So let's just compare Batman to a bunch of stuff. Here he is next to a Jetted Toys Fei Long. Here he is next to a Savage Crucible Royal Guard that I repainted. I repainted the armor and I painted the scales. I took the white stripes off the scales, but he doesn't like to stand up, so I got to swap the feet. But there he is next to that. Here he is next to a Joy Toy Warhammer Terminator. That's a 1/18 scale, by the way. Here he is next to Secret Wars Iron Man. And then also next to Odious from Unparalleled Universe. Always nice to see. And then here he is next to an Astrobot. And then here he is next to a 5 Points Luke Cage, because I just had that around. Here he is next to another Mafex, even though I showed you Mafex, but there he is next to Black Panther. And then here he is next to a YOLO Park Last Night Optimus Prime. Here he is next to a Ahsoka from Black Series. And then here he is next to a Synthetic Human. I told you a lot of comparisons because y'all like to see comparisons. And then last but not least, here he is next to Kamen Rider Build. So all in all, I gotta say I do like this figure. It's not the worst. While not the best, it's not the worst at anything either. If you swap the cape, I feel like that's the end of your problems. The cape is the biggest issue here because it's just terrible. Looks great, but it does not function great. And function is half of looking great. You can have a car that looks amazing, but it doesn't have a motor, doesn't run. There's no point. So yeah, that's terrible. The shape of it and the look of it is cool, but the functionality is a 0 for me. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. Shout out to everybody using my affiliate links. The affiliate links really help out the channel. They help me do what I do. They help me review stuff like this. Like, comment, subscribe. Watch one of these other videos on the screen, and I'm out.